All right. So again, always start from the last statement. The nurse plans to set the flow rate at how many drops per minute. So for your formula here, it's total volume over total time in minutes times your drop factor. We know that our volume is 1,000. So write your stuff down because I'm going to go to the whiteboard just because I want to make sure everybody is good with all this. So our volume is 1,000. Our time is 12 hours. We're going to convert that. So I'm going to write it underneath my 1,000. It's 12 times 60. And then my drop factor is 15. And unless it tells you otherwise, you already know that it's always going to be a whole number for the answer here, unless it tells you to do something else. Okay, everybody can see the whiteboard?
Yes.
Okay, so this is asking us for a drop factor or drops per minute. So this is where we're trying to go to over here. Drops per minute. This is going to be our formula. Which is total volume over time in minutes times our drop factor. Okay, so you should have wrote your volume down was 1,000 mLs. You had 12 hours, and because that has to be in minutes, we're going to multiply that times 60. And then our drop factor was 15. Okay, so 12 times 60 should give us 480. Anybody get something else?
I got 720.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
No,
See,
it's supposed to be 21.
I'm not even doing my math today.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I'm
already
like, that's times 8 hours.
It's supposed to be 21.
all right. 12 times 60. Let me get out the calculator. Let me wake up.
720.
720.
All right, good. 720. You're paying attention. I love it. All right, so 720 minutes. All right, so now you're just going to do the math here. So 1,000 divided by 720 times 15. And you should have got
21. Okay.
20.83, right?
Yes.
Now, what number rounds this to a whole number?
Yes.
The 8.
The 8. This is what we use to round it to a whole number. So that's going to make this number a 1. And so that's going to give us 21 GTT per minute. Okay. Go back to the question. Anybody have questions on that one? Okay, so we got it right. Here's their rationale if you need to see it. Okay, take a picture of it. I don't care. But if you have the Saunders book, you have this. Some of you don't have the Saunders book yet, and some of you haven't opened it yet. If you open the book and scratch your code off and put it in there, you can get to this through content. You have to go to content. You have to end up in skills. You're going to go to content, and then basic. There's a basic.
Yes.
Let me see if I can find it for you so you can see it. I would suggest you do these questions. I suggested before, and one of the questions that a lot of people missed was right in the Saunders book on this math. You'll see questions come from here because this is where they take some of them. All right, so now everybody can see the screen with the selections for the book.
Yes.
Okay, so go under Foundations of Care. You're clicking the arrow next to it. I'm sorry, not that one. Skills.
Skills.
And then there's a dosage calc here. Then you just click the box and it'll bring you only dosage calc.
Good.
Okay, that's if you have the 9th edition. If you have the 8th edition, it's going to be kind of in the same place, but it's just going to look a little different. Okay, does anybody have the 8th edition that doesn't know how to get to it? We're all good?
Yeah, I want to look
Okay.
at this.
All right, let's look at the next question. All right, this is asking that you're going to set the pump at how many milliliters to deliver 1,300 units per hour. Okay, that's your dose. 1,300 units an hour. That's your dose because that's what you're giving. If you're giving something, it's a dose. Okay, so your dose is 1,300 units per hour. Whenever you're giving something and they give you the dose, what you have to find is what you have on hand. Okay. So now when you go back in the statement, what do we have on hand?
20,000 units and 250 ml.
Right. It doesn't matter how the question is written. Remember, if you're giving something per hour, that's your dose.
Okay.
Okay. Because sometimes the questions are written funky, but you have to figure out how much am I going to give per hour or per minute? Because if you know per minute, you can calculate per hour by just multiplying it by what?
60.
60. So these questions really aren't to trick you, but you just have to think about what do I need to get to? And what do I need from the statement to get there? Everything in the statement is important. There is no fluff here, but you don't need everything to solve the calculation. Okay? So that's the difference. All right, so let's go to the whiteboard. This is desired over have, basically, because they're asking you to give a dose. That's your dose, your 1,300 units per hour. So this is going to be really desired over have. All right, so our desired dose is 1,300 units per hour. And don't be afraid to write it out, okay, guys, because that helps you. We need to get to mLs per hour here. We're given 1,300 units in an hour. We have, what it was, it 20,000?
Yes.
Yes, and a 250 ml bag.
It's in a 50?
And no, in 250.
250.
250. Okay. Okay, here your units is going to cross out. You're going to be left with mLs per hour. Okay. So now it's just math. 13,000 divided by the 20,000. I'm sorry, 1,300 divided by the 20,000 times your 250.
Yes.
And you should have got 16
Two five.
0.25. Okay. Now, if I said round it to the nearest tenth, what would it be?
16.3.
16.3, but we're going to round it to a whole number. So then it would be what?
16.
16.
Okay.
6.
So now we're going to go back to the question. Okay, 16. They do it a little bit different, guys. I don't care how you do it. Okay, I do it, I use shortcut math. So, I mean, you can go through all these steps. It's okay. If that's what works for you.
There's the two long steps. This.
Okay, so there's can you see it? You can take a picture of it. If you have the Saunders book, it'll be in there for you.
Okay.
Okay, but there's the steps right there. Take a picture of it. All right, this one says the same thing. The nurse sets the pump at how many milliliters per hour to deliver 8 units per hour. So go ahead and do the math and see if you can get to the right answer here. Give everybody a little bit of time before you shout out the answer, and then I'll ask for it. Okay, what we get?
8.
8.
Okay. Anybody have problems solving that at all? Okay, good. Okay, again, there's your steps for that. Okay, we're going to skip this one because we're not doing, I don't think you guys are going to see that on there. And here, okay, on this question, all I want you to do is tell me how much the patient weighs in pounds.
Oh.
And I want you to round it to the nearest tenth.
15.8.
Okay, good. Everybody
15.8.
able to get there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you
Yeah.
had to do this question, all you would do is take that 15.8, right?
Hmm.
And leave it in pounds. Because here they gave you the weight in what?
In kilogram.
Right.
Kilogram.
And your dose is per kilogram, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So here you don't have to convert. I just did that on purpose because I want you to see, like, when it's already in kilograms, you don't do anything except the math. So 7.2 times 8 is what?
57.6.
57.6.
Okay. Now, what's the question ask?
It's asking how much do you give per dose, but you're giving it twice a day.
Okay, per dose,
And
and you're
so-
giving it twice a day. So now you have to take that because look at it. It says the dose is 8 micrograms per kilogram per day. So
Oh.
because it's per day and you're giving it twice a day, to calculate the dose, you would have to divide it by 2.
Yes.
You have to really look at that because if it said 8 micrograms per kilogram per dose, that's going to be a different answer.
Yes.
Okay. When it says per day, then what are they asking for? And if they asked how many micrograms per day, you would put the 57.6. But since this says per dose, you have to divide it by 2 because you're giving it twice a day. And it's a daily order. That's how you tell the difference. So now what would your answer be for this one?
28.8.
28.8.
Okay, good. So I tried to point everything out where people make mistakes here. Okay. So one of them is if it's in kilograms, there's no weight conversion. If it's in pounds and your dose is ordering for kilograms, which most of the time, if it's weight based, that's what's going to be ordered for. Then you have to convert that weight into kilograms. And then you do the math and then you determine what is the dosage prescribed here. Is it per day or per dose? And you can get to the answer for any of these questions. But you just got to slow down and really look at what is it asking me. There's something there that will help me get to it. I just got to figure out what it is. Okay. All right. Now let's look at this one. The nurse administers how many tablets per dose to the adolescent? Okay. So per dose, you already know your formula is what?
Desired whole.
Desired over half. So we have an ordered dose of 1 gram. On hand, we have 500 milligrams per tablet. So what do we have to do here?
Multiply
Convert the gram.
You
by
gotta
Convert the
thousand.
convert.
grams to milligrams.
You gotta
Okay,
convert.
you have to convert. Okay, you can convert either way, guys.
Yeah.
I always recommend that you convert to the easiest number to work with.
Yes.
Or have a system. If you're always going to go to grams, then always go to grams. If you're always going to go to milligrams, go to milligrams. Here, I would go to milligrams because if I take my 500 and convert it to grams, it's going to give me a decimal, right? Because I got to go to the left. And when I'm from milligrams to grams, when I'm going to the left, what is my action?
Multiply by thousand.
Left is divide and conquer, right? I'm losing the love of my life. When I'm going to the left, I have to divide and conquer. Okay. When I'm going to the right, we're back in love again. We're going to act like rabbits and multiply. So those little sayings are to help you remember. The thing you have to remember in your brain is which way does the scale go? Okay. So let's go to the whiteboard for a second, just because I don't want anybody to struggle with these conversions. And the easier they are, the more people struggle with them. Believe me. When I give you guys hard questions, you do better. But I don't get to make these questions, so. Okay, so here we have 1 gram. Come on. Over 500 milligrams. Okay. So here's your scale. Okay. Grams, milligrams. These are the main ones we use. Micrograms. Okay. So maybe it would help you remember that when you're going towards grams, look at grams, go, or you're going to the left, right? That's going to be just your G. Just your grams. So you're going to the left here. Okay. That's going to be your grams. Anytime you're going to the left, you're going to divide and conquer. So if you're going milligrams to grams, you would have to take that 500 and divide it by 1,000, which you could do that. It would give you 0.5. Okay. Here's your decimal. 1, 2, 3. If you do the math, you're still going to get it 0.5 grams. You could do it like that. Okay. I suggest that you get rid of the decimal and that you go the other way. So if you're going to the right, you're going to multiply, right? But you're going to do this one because this is already in milligrams. You with me?
Yes.
Okay. So whichever one you want to do. So you could either do 1 gram divided by 0.5 grams, or you could do 1,000
Divided by-
milligrams over 500 milligrams. The main thing is what works, what's going to stick in your brain under stress. What are you going to remember? Okay. Try to use the same thing all the time. Consistency is going to be key here because that's going to make your brain remember. You know, like when you're driving to work and you pass the
Yeah.
grocery store that you go to all the time, but you just go on to work because you're not going to the grocery store. And going to work is something you do every day. But now it's Sunday and you're going to the grocery store. You don't go to the grocery store every day, but you use that same road. And all of a sudden you realize, like, oh my God, I'm 3 blocks past the grocery store. What am I doing? I'm not going to work today. Right? You got to flip around and go
Yeah.
back because
Yeah.
habits will follow you. So you have to create good habits in your practice so they stick with you when you do the test. Okay. This is what I'm trying to create with you by telling you read that last statement in the question all the time. Know this scale in your brain. What is your formula? Set it up. What's the question asking you? What are you trying to get to? These are all things that you want to ask yourself as you're doing the question, and you want to have steps for doing it. All right. So my steps are always I read the last statement first. I determine my formula. I set my formula up. I look at it to see if I need to convert anything, and then I do the math. All right. So what do we get here for an
2.
answer?
2.
2.
2. Okay.
Yes.
Everybody was able to get to that?
Yes.
But Mrs. Loesch,
Yes.
but the last the question it says the nurse administer how many tablet per dose. Then I got 2. Then because it said per dose, I divided by 2.
Why?
Because you said when
Where
it's
in here does it say that this is a daily dose? You didn't listen to what I said to you on the last statement. And let's go back to it because I want you to understand it. You see how this says 8 micrograms per kilogram per day?
yes.
Okay, where does it say that in this statement?
Well, I was going by this word daily.
But you're just adding your own words in because this says, look at this one. This is what you're talking about, right? Okay. So I think that you're not understanding how what the question is asking here. Because it says that the doctor ordered this 1 gram twice a day. So if you're giving 1 gram twice a day, how many grams are you given?
Oh, yeah, that's true. 2. That's true. I understand now. Thank you.
Okay. So it's just really interpretation sometimes for you guys. And I get that, but you have to figure out how to interpret it so you don't take yourself in the wrong direction. And I don't know how to fix that part for you, other than going over. So that's why I try to bring a lot of different questions written a lot of different ways, because I won't have control over how they write the questions in the exam. Right?
Yes.
So then this is my go-to to fix that for you. This is how I try to fix that for you. Look at what the question says here. What does it say? Go ahead and read it for me, please, if you don't mind.
The nurse administer how many tablets per dose
So
to
stop
the
right there, because it doesn't matter really what the rest of it says, right?
Oh,
The nurse administers how many tablets per dose. Now, what I need your brain to click in and say here is, okay, this is asking about a dose, right?
yes,
Okay, it's asking me about a dose, and what is my formula for a dose?
desire over the
Over half,
Mhm.
right? Okay, so
Mhm.
what is ordered here?
1 gram orally twice daily.
Okay, but we're only calculating one dose, so all we need is that 1 gram, right? Because that's what's ordered, 1 gram. And what do
Yes,
we have on hand?
500 mg.
So you know your formula for desired over half is to take your desired dose, which is 1 gram, and put it over what you have on hand, which is 500 milligrams. The only problem that you have with this question is that you have to convert. Okay, so when we go back to the whiteboard, you had to convert. Okay, so your desired dose was 1 gram up there on the top, right? On the bottom, we had the 500 milligrams. But because you can't put grams over milligrams, you have to convert.
Okay.
You might not be the only one having that issue. Other people might be having that issue. They don't understand what the question's asking them. And sometimes it's a language barrier. Sometimes it's an author issue, like the way the author writes the question. Just to try to help you with that, just try to remember at the end of the day, what are you actually trying to get to here? Okay. And again, that's always going to come from that last statement in the question. So look at this one here. The nurse administers how many mLs per dose? So again, per dose is going to be what?
Desire over half.
Desired over half. You're blessed with this one because everything's in the same context, right? We have
Yeah.
units on hand. We have units ordered. So we're good here, right? Now you just have to take your 1 million over your 1,200,000, right? Times your 2. Everybody able to get this answer here without me going to the whiteboard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, me, just to even make it simpler, I don't want to confuse anybody, but if you have equal zeros, I would get rid of all those. You could just put 10 over 12 times 2 here.
yes. Whatever.
For those of you that works for, okay, I always encourage you to write the whole problem out just so you don't make any errors. But if that's something you're used to and it works for you, you can certainly do it. I just don't usually go into that with you guys just because some people that aren't able to understand what I'm saying there will make mistakes. And I don't want to see you making mistakes because you didn't put all the math in. But that's a lot of zeros to put into the calculator. And when you have to put in a lot of zeros, that can sometimes make you make a mistake because you don't put enough in. So it's how can you make these simpler? Let me just go to the whiteboard with this one for a second. This is 1 million over 1,200,000. By the way, I'm not rushing this into an hour session today. So if you need more time, you don't understand something, I'm going to give you the time that you need today so that you're prepared for next week. Last week, I just had to do what I could do to get one in because I'm always just, it's every day I'm swamped with stuff. Is that right? Did I write the numbers right? Let me just make sure.
Yes.
Okay. So like this here, okay, you could use because these cross out. Just like your units would cross out, these can cross out, but you have to have equal numbers. Okay. So if you're going to do that, it has to be totally equal. Just so you know. Okay. So what did we get here?
1.7.
1.7.
Okay. What if I said rounded to the nearest 1,000th? I mean, the nearest 100th.
1.67.
1.67. And what about the nearest whole number?
2.
Okay, good. Just trying to keep going over that with you in case you get these types of questions. I expect the exam to be pretty straightforward, but some of the concepts people struggle with, and I just want to make sure that we're not struggling anywhere here.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question. But
Yes.
when you go back to the question
Okay.
about the rounding, can you put the question again, please? Sorry. Okay, it says round to the nearest decimal. Can you explain me that, Ms. Lucas? I think I don't understand when they say nearest decimal.
So I want you to write a number down for me. I want you to write on your paper that you have there at home. I want you to write 1.57.
Okay.
Which one of those numbers is closest to the decimal?
5.
The 5. And that's your 10th place. Okay. The nearest decimal is always your 10th place. So this is the same as round to the nearest 10th. But,
So meaning
nursing can never have one explanation for anything. So they have to write everything two different ways. So instead of saying round to the nearest 10th, they write round to the nearest decimal. So if you were rounding 1.57 to the nearest 10th, what would the answer be?
1.6.
Right. And if you're rounding it to the nearest decimal, the answer is also
1.6.
correct.
Oh, really? Thank
Because
you.
it means the same thing. They both mean to the nearest 10th.
Now, let me just take a picture of this so I can practice. Sorry. Chess, can you please take a picture for me? Sorry, my phone is acting crazy.
Yeah, but Edith, this is under the Saunders.
Yeah,
I
this is
took the picture.
question 7. If you guys open up your Saunders book,
Oh,
you'll
it's
find
question
the
7 on Sanders? Okay, I'll
Yeah.
do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's your answer
you.
there and your rationale. Okay.
All right.
I don't know if they talk about it. Yeah, they don't even tell you about the nearest 10th there, but it's an assumption that nurses understand what that means. Just because in order for you to understand dosage calc, typically you've had additional math that has helped you. This is why they do the algebra and some of the math that they do, so that people understand how to do some of these ratios and proportions. Okay, let's look at this one. This one says the nurse has determined that the dose prescribed is safe and prepares to administer how many mLs to the child. Now here, we're going to use the figure here, but if we're administering mLs, what are we giving? Say it again.
A dose.
A dose. Okay, so our formula is going to be
Deserve a half.
desired over half. We already know that we have a
0.6.
quarter, right? Our desired dose is what?
0.6.
0.6. So now we're going to use the label to find out how much we're going to actually give,
Mhm.
or what we have on hand. I'm sorry. Can you see the label or no?
No.
Okay, let me do a different share. Okay, here's your label here.
Oh,
So
okay.
now how much do we have on hand based on this label?
0.4 milligram per ml.
Correct. And our order is for 0.6. So now you're going to take your 0.6, which is your desired dose, and put it over what you have on hand, which is 0.4 milligrams times 1 ml. Okay, milligrams will cross out, and you're just going to do the math there.
1.5.
Okay, is that what everybody else was able to get?
Yes.
Come on, go back to my screen. Okay, anybody have a problem doing that one? We're all good?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, I want everybody to try this one. I'm not going to say anything here. I just want you to try it, see if you can get to the right answer. If you can't, then we'll go over it. Okay, what do we get?
1.
One.
1.
Okay, anybody struggle with that?
No.
Okay, let's try this one. Same thing. This says, how much heparin will you administer to the client? Or it might say, the nurse has blah, blah, blah. How much will you use to prepare the order? So, this could be written a lot of ways. I noticed that a lot of their questions, they like to write, the nurse will prepare the following dose or prepare the following order. It all means the same thing. Okay. If you're going to give somebody a dose, it's going to go back to your desired over half formula. So see if you can do this one. Okay, what do we get?
0.6.
0.6.
Okay, anybody have difficulty with that one? All right, good.
So it's the same as the one. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna ask question. So yeah, it's 0.6, but then record your answer using 1 decimal in place.
Did you do that?
I left it on 0.6, but I'm just
Okay, is that
asking.
1 decimal place? Where is 1 decimal place?
I don't understand that, Mrs. Loach. Sorry.
Look at the question that I look at what I put in the box.
0.6.
Is that 1 decimal place?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
because 2 would be this. 3 would be this. 4
yeah,
would
yeah,
be
yeah.
that. Okay.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, there we go. Okay, here's another one. Let's see if we can do that one. All right, what do we get?
2.
Two.
Okay, everybody was good with that. Everybody was able to convert with no issues.
Mhm.
Okay, let's go over this one. Uh, Wait a minute. Let me look at this one for a second. Now let's skip this one. You guys can do it if you want to. Not too sure that you're going to see something like that on the test. Let's do this one. Okay, what is this asking you for?
How many draws per minute?
Okay, so now what's your formula?
Volume over time times the drop factor.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. You have a nice little cush here because this gave you what?
It's already in minutes.
Minutes.
Okay,
33.
just going to give a couple more minutes. Some of you are faster than others.
I love you.
I love you too, Mom.
Okay, everybody able to get the answer there?
Yes.
Okay, there's your formula. They write it out a little bit different than I do, but it doesn't matter. If you get to the right answer, that's what's important. Okay. What was that one? Let's go to that. Okay, let's see if you can do this one. Again, what is this asking you?
How much solution will you have left?
Okay. So how would you solve this? First, you need your total solution, right?
Yes.
You have 1,000 mLs. You know that it's running at 80 mLs an hour. Okay. And it started at 7. Okay. It ran until noon. So the first thing you have to figure out is how long did it run for? So from 7 to noon is how many hours?
5.
5. And it's running at 80 an hour. So how many has gone out of the bag?
400 ml.
400. So now you have to subtract that 400 from your total volume, which was what?
1,000.
1,000. So that should give you 600 mLs left in the bag. Everybody good with that?
No, say that again.
That should give you 600 mLs left in the bag. So let's go to the whiteboard. All right, write down what you have. You have 1,000 mLs. Okay. It's running at 80 mLs an hour. And it started at 7 a.m. and it went until noon. All right, let me go to the whiteboard. Okay, so this here, we have to figure out how much is in the bag, okay? And this might happen if your IV infiltrates or if it stops for some reason and you have to restart it. Okay, so you started with 1,000 at 7 a.m. It's 12 now, okay? So first thing you have to figure out is how long this infusion ran. So 7 to 12 equals how many hours?
hours.
5 hours. Okay. And then it was running at 80 an hour. So 5 times 80 mLs per hour equals
400.
400 mLs. You started with 1,000. 400 went out. You're left with
600.
okay. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the steps here. Just in case you don't have access to the book. Okay, let's see if you can do this one on your own. All right, what did we get?
16.
16.
Okay, you said 16. That's what I just did the math because I
16.
could hear you guys were saying something, but I couldn't hear what. All right, 16 is correct. That should be correct. Okay, and there's your formula. Anybody have a problem with that one?
So,
Mrs. Losh,
Yes.
can we please go back to the previous one? I just want to see something. Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, let's try this one. Okay, what do we get here?
25.
25.
25, everybody said?
25.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, remember, what did you use here? You used the
Is this
100 and you used the 60 minutes, right?
yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Remember that because sometimes what you'll see is a question that says a client received 1,000 mLs IV at 100 mLs per hour, drop factor of 15. When you see it like that, remember, you don't need that 1,000, right?
Yes.
You can use the 100 mLs per hour because it gives you a total volume over a time right there. Hopefully we'll find one of those. That's what I'm actually looking for. All right, this one you said was 25, right? Let's just see if I got rock stars on here. And I do. Okay, there's the problem there if anybody wants it. Let's try this one. If you're not on mute, please put yourself on mute because I'm recording. I don't want something to come on here inappropriately. Okay, what do we get?
17.
17.
Okay, anybody struggle with this one? I put this one up on purpose. Anybody not able to get to 17 here? Okay. Okay, look at this one. Do this one. What do we get?
21.
21.
21.
21.
Okay, anybody struggle getting that?
I do. These are the ones I have issues with.
Okay, that's why I purposely. So remember, let's go back to the other one that I showed you here. This one here. So look at this one. This one said you had 100 mLs per hour and you just took your 100 and you put it over 60 and you multiplied it by your drop factor, right?
Yes.
Because that's your total
Yes.
volume here. Okay. Now look at this one.
Oh,
So even though your total volume here is 1,000, okay, it's telling you that it's running at 125 an hour. So you actually don't need that 1,000 whenever it gives you a rate like that. So for this one, if you're going to use the 1,000, then you have to take it and divide it by the 125, which is 8. And you would have to take 1,000 over 480 times 10 to get that answer. It's a lot of steps. Since you already know it's running at 125, and I'm going to put it on the whiteboard, okay? Since you already know it's running at 125 over 60 minutes or an hour, you can use the 125 over 60 times 10 here. You can skip that other step and just make it easy on yourself. And that's why I purposely put these on here. So let me go to the whiteboard. Because you'll see them written different ways. We've already seen 3 or 4 different ways that these are written, right?
yes.
Okay, so you're trying to be consistent and you're trying to follow the formula that you know, which is the total volume of 1,000. Okay, so that's your total volume, right? Over your total time. The problem is they didn't actually say, okay, this 1,000 mLs is running over 8 hours. But what they did tell you is this is running at 125 mLs per hour. Okay, now if it's running at 125 and you took 1,000, because that's what you'd have to do, divided by the 125, that equals 8 hours, which is equivalent to 8 times 60 is 480. Okay, that's minutes, because now we converted it to minutes, because that's what you're supposed to do for this problem, right?
Yes.
Okay. But here you know that you have something running at 125 over 60 minutes. So technically you can eliminate this step if you're able to see that in the question. If you're not, then you need to go and follow your basic steps. Okay, either way, you're going to get the same answer. So if I took 1,000 and put it over the 480 minutes and then multiply it, what was my drip factor?
10.
10.
Yes.
Okay, and multiplied it times 10.
I'm like, my season started in
Uh-oh, I
August.
lost my screen. Let me see.
So, yeah.
Can you
but
please
I
put
just,
yourself
like,
on
I
mute?
graduation.
Excuse me.
That's the only thing I'm
I'm
worried about.
recording. Could you
Yeah, I mean,
please
why
put
would you not?
yourself on mute? Thank you. Nope, still not on mute. Talking all about stuff at work, and it's going right on my recording. I'm sorry, guys. I lost my screen. I'm trying to find it back.
Ryan, sit down. Sit down. I'm turning the TV on. Relax. The TV is a distraction for you.
I can't even tell who that is.
Oh,
Okay, you guys can still see the whiteboard? Sorry about that. All right.
Yes.
yes.
So it would either be the 1,000 over the 480 minutes, or you could take the 125 over the 60 times 10. Okay, and then just do the math here, and you'll see that you get the same answer regardless. This is times 10, not 60, because that's our drop factor. Okay, did you do the math both ways?
Yes. Yeah, both come.
Okay, and everybody was able to get the answer both ways, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody still struggling with this? Hopefully we'll have another one that'll pop up.
So what was the answer? 21?
I got to do the math. Who did the math? Oh,
I
yeah, I got
got-
21.
Yes, it was
It's still on
21.
my
Yes.
It's still on my calculator. I
21.
got 21.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody else got 21?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you see, they're showing you both. They might only be showing you one way here. They're probably not showing you the shortcut method. They're showing you how to use the 1,000 and divide it by the 125 to convert it to 8 hours, and then the 480. Okay? That's just a cheat you can use if it works for you. Okay, let's do this one. What's the question asking us, and then how are you going to set it up?
How much medication would the nurse prepare to administer to for the correct dose?
Say it again.
Asking about how much medication would the nurse prepare to administer the correct dose?
Okay, so what's the formula here?
D over H.
Okay.
D over A divided by half.
Okay, what did we get?
0.8.
1 ml.
Okay, I heard two different answers there.
0.8.
I heard two different answers there. So let's set this up. Let's set this up. Okay. So what's our desired dose here?
250,000 units.
Okay. And what do we have on hand?
300,000.
300,000.
Per 1 ml. Okay.
Yeah,
Don't get confused with this.
Yes.
Okay. What does that mean? This means that the pharmacist ain't running downstairs every time you need a dose.
Yes.
So he just sent you a big bottle of it. What matters is here, because this tells you what the strength is. You have 300,000 units for every ml you give. So that's what you have to use there. Try it again, and let's make sure you got the right answer. Do you need me to set it up on the whiteboard?
No.
Okay, everybody's good with this one?
Yes,
0.8. Yep.
answer is 0.8.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. And in real life, that's how it's going to come, guys. Because pharmacy's not going to run it up there every time you need a dose. Okay, let's try this one. Again, what's the question asking us?
How many milliliter per hour are required to deliver the prescribed dose?
So this is a dose. So how are we going to set it up?
Desired overhead.
Right. And our desired dose is
900.
always what you're given per hour there. or it could be per minute. Then you would have to calculate it to hours. If it was per minute, you'd have to multiply it by 60 because they want hours. You see, it's always back to what does the author want? What do I have in the statement? What do we get?
11.
11.
11.
Okay, good. Anybody have a problem with it? Try this one. So this one wants you to tell us what time that the completion time would be here. All right, so you know you have 1,000 mLs.
Mm-hmm.
It's running at 80 an hour. You started it at 9.
You
It's
ready for the
asking
answer?
you what time it's going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I want you to give me the time in regular time and in military time.
Okay.
Okay, what do we get?
The military time will be 21:30.
9:30, 21:30.
Okay, great. Everybody able to get to
Can
that?
we do that on the whiteboard?
I ain't get that. Huh?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the whiteboard. So what do we need out of this statement? Okay, so you know that you have 1,000 mLs. You know it's running at 80 an hour. Okay, and it's asking you after a start time of 0900, what time will it stop?
Sit down, Zion, sit down.
Please put yourself on mute. If you want to talk, you can just press the space bar when you get ready to talk and it'll take you off mute.
Too far up on the TV. Sit down.
Okay, so our total volume was 1,000 mLs and it was running at 80. So the first step is to determine how many hours that it's running. Okay, so 1,000 divided by 80.
12.5.
Okay,
12.5.
equals 12.5 hours. Now it's 9 a.m. I already know 9 to 9 is 12 hours, right?
Yes.
So this is going to be 9 p.m. plus the 0.5. So it's going to be 9:30 p.m.
Right.
Now I got to turn it to military. So I'm going to take the 9 and add 12, right? And that's going to give me 21 plus my 30. Good there?
Yes.
Everybody
Yes.
good?
Yes.
Yes.
Again, there's your rationale that they give you. I take as many shortcuts as I can, guys, because that's how I do the math, but you may have to take little steps until you get it. Then you can start taking those shortcuts. Little steps, though. Do everything in steps until you get it. Okay, all I want to know here is how many kilograms is the child? And what'd you get?
7.72.
7.72.
Okay, now leave that whole number in your calculator and multiply that times 72 because that's the ordered dose, right? 72 milligrams per kilogram a day. And what'd you get?
$5.56.
Okay, you got 556.36, blah, 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 blah. Leave that whole number in there. Now look at what this says. Now we just did a daily dose, right? Because you see how this says per day? So that's what you just calculated was a daily dose. How many times a day is this given? It's given every 4 hours. So 24 divided by 4 is what?
6.
6. So we're given 6 doses a day. So in order for you to calculate a dose here, you would have to take that whole number, 556, and divide it by 6. And what answer did you get there?
92.7.
You got 92.7. They got 92.64. They probably rounded it. I don't round. I leave everything in, okay? But none of the other numbers are even close, right? And I'm just doing that because I want you to see. You're not going to have to do any of these on the test, but I want you to see why there's a difference there in the answers because of what it's asking you. But feel free to take a picture of it and look at it. You should know how to do these. Those of you that are in PEDS, you're going to get these on exams. And you should know how to do them.
So, Ms. Loach,
Yes.
so if a question like this, I'm not doing P, but if they're doing PC for a question like this, they calculate how we did it. We got 92.72 and they got 92.64. So
They're
that
going to
means they're going
tell
to mark
you.
us wrong?
They're going to tell you how they want you to round it. You notice
Okay.
how Saunders did it?
Yes.
They got the 555.84 for a single dose. So let me take out this here. I don't know how they got 555. I think this is a wrong answer.
Okay.
Okay? Because if I take 72 and divide it by 2.2, let me try something here. They probably used, instead of using the whole weight, they probably rounded it after the weight. Now, if I wanted you to round it after the weight, I would put that in the question. I wouldn't expect you to know that. But I think what she did was, whoever did this question, they took the 7.72 times that dose of 72.
Okay.
That's how they do it.
And they got 555, okay? So they rounded it after the weight. But really, in the real pediatrics world, we don't do that. Do you know why? We use the
Yeah.
exact weight. Because when you're rounding up the weight like that, depending on the drug, you could technically overdose the person. So
Okay.
even though you're only given 0.3 or 0.4, you're given 6 doses a day. And every time you're given 0.3 or 0.4 extra. So if this were like a cardiac med, I'd be concerned. If it's an antibiotic, I'd be concerned because that could do kidney damage. And that's why we base the dose on the weight. I was always taught we use the exact weight. We don't round it. But different authors will do different things, okay? The question should tell you. Now, if you get a question like this on the exam and it doesn't tell you, I'm going to try to fight it for you.
Okay.
Okay? Because if they want you to round the weight, they should tell you that. But I really wanted you to see, how the difference is here. Whenever you're calculating a daily dose, you have to go back and look at what are they asking you here. And if they're asking you for a single dose and you calculated a daily dose, you have to know that you have to divide that by however many doses are given in the day. And I just want you to see that part. I know for seniors, sometimes they will give you daily doses and sometimes ask you for a single dose. Okay. Any other questions that I didn't go over that you guys are concerned about that you didn't do well with on the test?
What about a question that came last time that most people got it wrong? I got it right back. What I got wrong was that desire over the drop factor. I got the answer supposed to be 26. I don't know how I put 28 inside, but there was a question that a lot of people got it wrong. If we can do one of that.
You didn't get it wrong?
No, I did not. I got it right.
Did somebody get that question wrong that he's talking about?
Which one?
Can you say it again?
The question that came in the last Dosage chart, that the answer was supposed to be 2.
2 ml.
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah, the one you did the last study session on the Saunders, Miss Loesch, when it was 3 grams.
Okay, this is a similar question to that one on the one I have on the screen now.
Exactly.
Let me look for the question that he's talking about, because this is a different question. This is not the one you're talking about, right?
No.
It was in the orange Saunders that you used last week.
Yeah, but the question is written the same as this one.
Yes.
Okay, I don't want to give you the same exact question with the same numbers, because here's the thing. You have to learn how to do it on any question because they're not going to give you the same numbers.
Yes.
So you have to learn the math. This question is very similar to that question. Do you see it?
Yep, it is.
Okay, so let's see if you can do this one. And then I'm going to find one similar to what he's talking about.
Did anybody get 7.5?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's just desired over have here.
Yeah.
What's your desired dose?
So this one is similar, the one a lot of people miss.
What's your desired dose here?
30.
30 MEQ.
30.
Okay. Now, what does that 1,000 mLs represent?
The whole bottle?
The
The
volume.
bag.
The
Yeah,
bag
but
is
also
saline.
I would call that my vehicle. Okay,
Okay.
because this is potassium and many other drugs fall in this category, right? Can I just shoot potassium into your vein?
No.
No.
I need a rider or a vehicle, and that's my rider or my vehicle to bring it into the body. So I don't actually need that. All I need is what is ordered, which is the 30 MEQs, and what I have on hand, which is 4 MEQs per ml. So that's how it should be set up. 30 divided by 4 times 1. Which I got 7.5. Okay, anybody have a problem with that one? Here's how it's set up over here for them. Okay, then I'm going to find the other one in the Saunders book for you to see it. I got to go to Saunders 8 for that. All right, everybody got their picture or whatever they want from that?
Yes.
Yes.
Professor Sue, can you go over one that has like the feet in centimeters?
Yes. Inches to centimeters, you mean, right?
Well, so I'll get stuck on the question, not the centimeters, because I know that's like 1 inch is like what I mean, what is it, 2.54? But then it was a question where they asked you like how long is like the baby in like feet and centimeters.
Okay, I got you. They put it in feet and inches, and they wanted you to convert it to centimeters.
Yes.
Gotcha. Where's this thing going?
Because then
Try
it'll
this
say
again.
something like M2 per M square.
Well, you won't have any questions like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're not going to have any questions like that. I don't even think you're going to have anything that goes from feet to centimeters, but I'll do it for you because I want you to know how to do it. Really, you're just converting the feet into inches, right? You're just converting the feet.
Okay.
I'm just talking, but I'm going to go
Yeah.
through it for you. So every foot is equal to 12 inches.
Okay.
So if the baby's 4 foot 5 inches, then you have to take 12 times 4, which is 48. Add that to the 5, which gives you now a total of 53 inches. And then you would have to divide that by the 2.5. Wait a minute. If you're going to centimeters, you would multiply it by the 2.54. When we're going from inches to centimeters, we multiply, right? Because centimeters are bigger. That's why I buy my boyfriend's shoes in centimeters.
Okay.
That's how I remember, right? I want his feet to be measured in centimeters because centimeters is always going to be a bigger number, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll do one on the whiteboard also for you. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to find the other Saunders. All right, this might be in here. It's the orange one. Here we go. I gotta shut it because I didn't put new all questions, so it's not gonna bring me that question. Let me go back to it. Take that off. Okay. Oh. Okay. Everybody see the question?
Yes.
So this question is really the same. It just has more information in it. But what does the end of the statement say?
How many milliliters
Will you give for the
per
correct
dose?
dose? And anytime you're given a dose, formula is always the same, right? So here we have a desired dose of what?
0.3 grams.
Right. And what do we have on hand?
900 milligrams
per 6 mLs.
per 6 mLs.
Okay. So now we go to the whiteboard. Nothing else in there matters because this is a dosing question.
900 per 6. So
Okay, so we have 0.3 grams over 900 milligrams times 6 mLs. For me, I'm going to convert 1, 2, 3. That should give me 300 milligrams, or I can multiply it by 1,000. I don't care how you do it. Was everybody able to get 300 milligrams there?
yes.
Okay, this is going to be a decimal, your first number, right? It's going to be a decimal right here because 300 divided by 900, 900 don't go into 300. And if you can make it go into 300, I got a room for you. Come live with me. So you should get a decimal there. And why do I say all these things? I say all these things to myself as I'm doing the math, so I know what to expect. It's kind of a double check. Okay, so you should have got 0.333, and then you're going to multiply that times your 6, and the answer was 2. Everybody able to get to that?
Yes.
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 Now, yes.
It's the golden sun. He shines down on me. Oh, Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun.
Okay. Correct. And they're just telling you the same thing. They don't even talk about the other stuff in there, but you know, they're doing the same math.
Saunders? No, that's not Saunders, so I can go back later.
This is Saunders. It's the 8th edition.
Oh, no, I don't have that. But I probably, okay, I'm gonna look because mine is 9th edition. Thank you.
Okay, now let's go. I'm going back to the whiteboard for a second. Okay, so let's say that I'm trying to convert inches to centimeters, and I have a baby that's 3 foot 9 inches tall, and I need to convert it into centimeters. Okay, the first thing you have to do is convert this into inches. Okay, and we know that every foot is 12 inches. So we have 3 foot. 3 foot times 12 should be 48 inches. And then I have an additional 9 inches here because the baby's 3 foot 9 inches. So 48 plus 9 should equal 57. And then I have to multiply that times my centimeters per inch, which 1 centimeter, right, is 2.54. So we're going to multiply it times 2.54.
Professor,
Miss Lowe's. Oh, yeah.
that's wrong. I mean, 3 times 12 is 36.
It's 36.
Okay, 36. Sorry. I failed math today. I failed basic math today. Thank you.
So you're gonna have to repeat term 5, Miss Loge.
I know. I actually probably would love that.
No, you don't want to
love
repeat.
that.
No, you don't
Okay.
want to repeat.
That's what you think. You know, I taught
36.
patho for a reason. I'm
36.
teaching patho this term for a reason. And the
Got
last
it.
2 terms. Because
Miss
I want
Lowe's,
my brain to
36.
be refreshed. 36.
12 times 3 is 36.
36. I still got the wrong answer in there. Okay. I'm a Friday failure. It's Good Friday. I'm on holiday. The brain's with it. I only have 3 brain cells.
Say it's your
working
day
today.
off.
Yeah. All right. So 36 plus 9 is
45.
Okay, so then it would be the 45 here times the, so I apologize if I confuse anybody there, but I appreciate the fact that you guys are on the ball, you're paying attention, and you got to the right answer, because sometimes being able to see the mistakes is a better learning curve for you.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay, so now we should have got 58.86, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. You want to do another one, or are you good?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Anything else that somebody needs me to go over? Did I get to the question that you wanted well back, or it wasn't?
Yes, please, Miss Loach. Yes, that was it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, any other questions I didn't cover? Anything else that somebody wants me to go over before we terminate?
Are we getting question, what is it? The time of completion. Completion time. I think it was questions 50.
Excuse me? On the completion time?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we did a bunch of those on this session.
It was one of them adding the question number 54, but I can go back to Saunders and do it.
Question number 54 in your Saunders book?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it was the first
in this book?
one, the blue one, you're right.
We did this one. You don't remember it?
Yes, I do remember, but I don't.
Okay. You're still confused on it?
A little bit, not a lot. Like, I got when I divide 1,000 over 80, I got 12.5.
Okay, so what is that representative of? What is that 12.5 representative of?
That's the time, let me see. That's the time frame, like 12.5 hours.
Okay, it's going to be running for 12.5 hours. You know it started at 9 a.m. So what is 9 a.m. and 12.5 hours?
It's 12 point, the 5 represent half an hour then.
Correct.
Then it would be 12:30.
How would it be 12:30?
Oh, no, not true, because 9 is a.m. Then plus 12 is gonna be, in military, it's gonna be 21. Sorry.
Correct.
Okay, so my confusion was the 5. When they say 12.5, I thought it was like 50 instead of half an hour, but now I understand the 5.
Well, if you have 0.5 of an hour, let's say you have 0.3 of an hour, how would you determine how many minutes it is?
Divided by 60.
Correct. So take your 0.5 and divide it by 60, that's going to give you 30 minutes, right?
Right.
If you take 0.45 and divide it by 60, what's that give you? If you take 4.5 and divide it by 60, what's that give you?
0.5, you say?
4.5, 45 minutes and divided by 60. It should give you 0.75. 45 divided by 60.
45 divided by 60.
0.75, right? That's 3/4 of an hour. So you know that 45 minutes is equal to 3/4 of an hour, right? Just like you know that 0.5 is equal to a half of an hour. But sometimes you get weird numbers. So you got to be able to determine, if I'm going from minutes to hours, what do I do? If I'm going from minutes to hours, what do I do?
Okay, so
I
every
multiply
time
by 60, right? So if I'm going from hours to minutes, I have to Divide by 60, right?
Yeah.
Just remember which way you're going.
Oh.
All right, other questions? All right, guys, then I'm going to end it. If you think of something, you're confused on something, then send me an email or try to get with me this week. You also have Ms. Z. If this math isn't cutting it for you, Ms. Taylor, you have a lot of resources and your clinical instructors. Okay?
Okay.
Thank
So
you,
Miss
Professor.
Flo, so
Happy Friday.
you
Thank
Happy
you.
posted
Friday.
something on
Guys, I will
example
post,
5?
I will have the 3 tests posted probably within the hour, and I will send you an email. The passcode is going to be the same for all of them.
Is it
Okay.
practice run?
Always the practice run 1, and the review code for everybody is going to be review all small letters.
You
Okay,
said
but I'll also
practice
send it
run.
in an email, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much and
Okay,
happy
thank,
Easter.
Thank you, Ms. Lowe.
Thank you. Have a
All
good
right.
weekend.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank
Imagine I'm a African. Where is it?